there, the gang's all here. Lily's out, Tim Van Voort, Brandon Cruz, and you. FOX6 Sports Blitz, great time of year. Packers kicking off, Brewers rolling right along. We have all sorts of things straight ahead for us. In fact, here is the starting lineup. The preseason starts with a tidy win for the Packers. But who's in the running for an important role? What a week for the Brewers. And their manager makes us say what? Plus our high school hotshot says all is fair. We're sticking around for that for sure. Packers go to Cleveland, Ohio, preseason game number 1 there. The Texans had already played 2 games by the time the Packers finally hit the field. Jordan Love's out there with the starters, the predominant starters at the start of the game. And in 3 plays, the Packers are ahead.
It was neat to see. I mean, if you're a fan of efficient football, that's what you got with them. I mean, and the fact that you see him throw the deep ball in stride to Dontavian Wicks just to get things going is kind of something where I think a lot of people were like, oh no, this is what we can see this year a lot. So a lot of excitement built on that, but that was it. After that, those guys sat down, and then the second unit came out. But I thought it was a nice statement to make in their first preseason game, and I'm sure that Jordan Love wanted a little more work, but at the same time, he accomplished what he needed to.
Jordan Love did say he'd like a few more snaps as the preseason goes along. Not sure what he'll get with Denver on the road after a competitive practice with the Broncos, and then the Ravens at home after a competitive practice with the Ravens. We shall see. One thing we saw, though, from the Packers, Lily, was complete protection of Jordan Love. They're not going to expose him to anything in the situation. People are wondering, should he play? Well, of course he should play. Next year, the Packers are in Cleveland. This is a dress rehearsal, basically. Where's the play clock? Where's the locker room? Come on out, get all that underway with your pregame warm-up, and then throw a touchdown pass.
Exactly, and Jordan Love needed that, and he wanted to play, right? And this is a guy that, again, they paid so much money for, or they're spending a lot of money on, right? He's going to be hopefully their next franchise quarterback. So you want to see him get out there in preseason and just show what he has. And again, 3 plays, and he scores his 65-yard touchdown pass to Dontavian Wicks. So efficient, and he looked really, really good. So we'll see if that kind of carries on into the regular season. But we heard Matt LaFleur talk about it last year in terms of these preseason reps. The live game reps for these guys are really important, especially when they're not going to play as much in the preseason. And then boom, game 1, they're in Brazil. So you want them to have those live game reps. They're very valuable. And again, they made the most of their time. We'll see, like you said, if they do play again, maybe potentially in week 3. But that being said, it was nice to have him out there with the starters and just look like this is kind of the offense that we're going to see debut in Brazil.
And then Sean Clifford came in, put up some pretty good numbers as the number 2 quarterback. Talking to him in the locker room after, saying, I'm playing a year. This is valuable for me to play these series in a row. So there is something to be gained from the preseason. We're looking at Wick's score on the pass from Jordan Love, of course, former first-round draft choice Jordan Love. Lucas Van Ness, a former first-round draft choice too, showed some flashes last season, Brandon. Showed more than flashes against the Browns.
Yeah, in fact, he really kind of set the tone for the defense in this one, getting a sack early on, which ended up holding the Browns to just a field goal on that drive. A little later, he was able to break through and put pressure on the quarterback, and then it allowed another sack by Colby Wooden. So what you saw was Van Ness kind of in every play. Even if he wasn't the guy making the tackle or the sack, he was involved in creating opportunities for guys around him. And I think this is a year where we might see a really big step from him because of the opportunity he has with Jeff Hafley's defense, and with more people looking around at the other guys around him, he's going to be a guy that can really create disturbances, especially in the backfield.
He's got a very confident demeanor about him through training camp, and in the Browns game the other day, I think he's really salivating at the prospect to get to put that hand down, which he actually switched to on his own last year a little bit. He's more comfortable doing that. That's what they're asked to do on the edge in this new defense, and Van Ness could be a guy who benefits from that. We talked about 2 first-round draft choices. You go to the 7th round last year, Grant DuBose was a forgotten man because he came into camp hurt and really couldn't do anything. He wasn't forgotten at all. In fact, he really showed out against Cleveland. And this is another guy adding to an already deep wide receiving core.
Right. The Packers have a good problem. They have a lot of talented wide receivers. And Grant DuBose said, hey, don't forget about me. I could be wide receiver number 6, right? I mean, this is a team that's going to carry a lot of wideouts, and rightfully so. But who's going to take that last spot, per se? Malik Heath? Could it be Grant DuBose after a really good first preseason game? We shall see. But the fact that he is making plays and he's making up for lost time. He set out for a year and really wanted to show what he has. And what he has is talent. And this is what the Packers like to see. So I'm intrigued to see, again, how these next 2 preseason games go, especially if the starters are not playing against Denver, what Grant can continue to do in week 2.
He obviously was a player that the Packers invested in as a draft choice. They love their draft choices. He came from a smaller program, so there was a learning curve to begin with, and then he had the injury. So he's definitely on the come. Bo Melton, who's Mr. Reliable, had a couple of drops the other day, so that was unusual. The kickers in the game, Greg Joseph and Anders Carlson, made all their kicks. And they also kicked off. These new kickoff rules, Brandon, it's funky to watch, and I think there'll be a lot of dissecting what took place in this game and around the league.
Yeah, I think this is what's going to be maybe the most interesting part of watching these games right now is how these teams handle the kickoff situation, because you have the team kicking off with everyone lining up on the 40. You have the receiving team with everybody lining up on the 35 and not moving until the ball is caught or hits the ground. And so then you see what can happen. And it's really interesting to see what the attack will be from different teams, because we don't know how easy it's going to be to break through and get a big return, or how important it is to get a touchback, which now brings the ball to the 30. I mean, it's a lot of weighing the positives and negatives and what could be and what couldn't be. And so I can't wait to keep watching this to see how it works and who's able to really take advantage of the new rules.
And we saw the Browns actually kick into the end zone there on one of those kicks. Why would you do that?
Right.
I mean, in the preseason, you're looking for something else. But we'll see what happens with this process going forward. Definitely a work in progress.
He lowered his pads. He had a 23-yard run, so that was nice to see. He was able to stick his foot in the ground and get outside, and we all know the speed he has. He's got real speed, and the challenge to him pregame was make sure you're running your feet on contact and run through people, and I thought for the most part that happened.
That's Matt LaFleur, and the he's referring to is Emmanuel Wilson, second-year running back, had a big blast last year in the state of Ohio against the Bengals, kind of propelled him to make the team. Lily, pretty good show in the state of Ohio Saturday against the Browns.
Right. I mean, we know Josh Jacobs is going to be the incumbent starter. So what's it look like behind him? I think Emmanuel Wilson is saying, hey, I want to be in that mix of being one of your 3 or 4 running backs. And I think he's certainly making the case. Marshawn Lloyd is injured. So we're going to see a heavy dose of Emmanuel Wilson in the preseason. And what he showed was agility, right? He was smart running behind the line, and he made a lot of good cuts. He had a lot of good help as well. I mean, Michael Pratt was throwing shoulders in there as well. So Emmanuel Wilson, very impressive, averaged over 5 yards per carry. And I think this is going to be a guy to watch in the preseason.
He's a decisive runner. He's had to round out his game a little bit, but he does have that power, and that's something that a lot of teams are searching for. Brandon, A.J. Dillon signed back with the Packers this season. A lot of hype about his new body type and his opportunity to provide some leadership on this team. Those things are still true, but second and short, third and short, fourth and short didn't work the other day against the Browns, yesterday against the Browns.
And we've seen that happen with him in the past in real games where they have a tough time getting that 1 yard they need for a first or for a score. And it happened again in this case against the Browns where he just couldn't get that extra yard. And yeah, his body is great right now. I mean, I think they were saying he's down to 3% body fat, and he just is chiseled right now, and he wants to be here. He's a fan favorite. He's a guy that people can really rally behind. But he didn't fare too well in this game, and then his opportunities were limited, and it went to Wilson much more after that. And so to me, I think maybe it's an opportunity for him to realize he has to come out and play well if he gets opportunities in Denver and again against Baltimore, because what we saw in Cleveland wasn't really the A.J. Dillon he was hoping to be and that maybe many of us were expecting to see.
He didn't miss any holes, though, either. I mean, there was nothing there for it. It was not blocked up at all. Marshawn Lloyd, Brandon showed the highlight in the sportscast, Lily. He pulled up lame. You could see him. He cut back, and then he just kind of tried to avoid contact and got himself out of bounds. High draft choice. He came in with a little bit of a fumbling question, a little bit of a durability question. Those questions are still there.
They are, and I think especially for a young player, availability is key, right? And Matt LaFleur even said, we know what he can do when he's healthy, but he has to stay healthy. I mean, he missed a chunk of training camp with a hip injury, and now he's going to miss some time with a hamstring injury, and a very important time as well, because again, these preseason games are the ones that we want to see Marshawn Lloyd really shine in, because he's going to get a bulk of those opportunities, and now he's going to be sitting out trying to rehab that hamstring, and you're going to see Emmanuel Wilson and you know, A.J. Dillon obviously get the bulk of the carries as well. So kind of disappointing for him to miss these reps, but he has to stay healthy, because when you're kind of dealing with these 2 big injuries so early in your career, you haven't played, you know, your first NFL snap yet. That's a little discouraging.
No question. And this is kind of what you talk about in the preseason roster battles. The Packers don't have a ton of them. They have a situation here at running back. I'll ask each of you. I think they keep 3 running backs. I think it's hard to keep 4. What do you think?
I think you're right. I think especially the way this team is built with so many really talented wide receivers and knowing that Josh Jacobs is going to get the bulk of it, I don't see them going to a 4th guy. I think 3 is key because you can mix up the first 2 and then spell them maybe with the 3rd. A 4th almost to me wastes a spot with where they're trying to go with this team.
I would say the same thing. And you're looking at, the tight end group as well. How many, positions can they really afford and the numbers in that position? So I think 3 as well. But I think that running back 3, that spot is going to be key to see kind of who shines there in terms of, the player that gets that role. But maybe, if they do, if it's Emmanuel Wilson and Marshawn Lloyd, kind of who maybe ends up on the practice squad and you save them there.
Can you protect them, or do they find their way to another team? So something to watch as the preseason winds down. We have much more to watch on the Fox 6 Sports, but we're not winding down. We're winding up. Stay with us. We're coming back for more right after this. All about the Brewers. Looking down on the rest of the NL Central.
Do I vote? I don't even know if I vote for her.
You really want to ask that question out of the gate?
I just like getting people's attention with something.
My significant other think he's sexy, so.
Wow. That was interesting. Was that Taylor Swift?
The stop and go, the gas. I was like, I was smelling salts. I had smelling salts the whole game.
It was a rough Saturday for Pat Murphy, but you know what? Those smelling salts kept him awake to see Reese Hoskins hit the home run to win this game 1-0 for them. But clearly what happened for them, he was out in the crowd. They took him on golf courts to interact with the fans, tailgating and all that, and he was having a little fun after the fact. Well, the Brewers have been having a lot of fun. A huge week for them. I mean, they can't win 6 in a row. It's been that limit this year with 5 wins in a row. Their streak ends with a loss today. But when you look at what they did from where we were talking last Sunday night saying, things aren't going so well, where are we this Sunday, Lily?
The offense came alive, right? I mean, I was kind of saying earlier, like, all they needed was a trip to Atlanta because holy cow, they were just hitting home run after home run. I think it was 54 total runs and 3 wins and series sweep over the Braves and 54 hits, 32 runs. That's how much the Brewers offense just came alive in Atlanta. They carried it into their series with the Reds in the last 2 games there against Cincinnati. The offense didn't really score much. But that being said, it was a nice turnaround because I think it was just kind of contagious, right? Once guys start getting hits, other guys up and down the order were getting hits, and it was just contributions up and down the order. And that was fun to see because this Brewers team really needed a kind of a feel-good game. And that series certainly was in Atlanta for Milwaukee.
And they come back and take 2 of 3 from Cincinnati, so it's a 5-1 week. They now lead this division by 7.5 games. Last week, that lead was shrinking a little bit, but we were talking about it, Tim, that they weren't letting anybody really get close to them. No team was taking advantage of it. This week, the Brewers took advantage of it and now sit really well as we're midway through August.
You pull away, you have fewer games that you have to play before all is said and done, and look at the numbers right here. That's a nice, comfortable spot for the Brewers. We'll see. Obviously, it's a tough week coming up now with the Dodgers coming in, another very good team out of the National League. But Brewers haven't had very many easy wins this season. They had multiple easy wins this week, then a real dramatic nail-biter on Saturday night. You have to take that if you're Milwaukee. So what a week for the way this team has played, particularly because, as you said, last Sunday, I think a lot of people had the sense that it was going to get tighter and tighter. They could maybe hold on, but it was going to get tighter.
Yeah, and now you get a little looser because the starting pitching has come and gone. We saw some good outings, some up and down outings, but Tobias Myers has really proven to be the ace of this squad, and I don't think even when he goes out there, he feels that way, but he's doing it day in, day out.
He is, and he's been spectacular. I mean, he said in the win over Cincinnati, just everything kind of was working for him, and it was a delight to watch. He had a career-high 9 strikeouts. I think in his last 5 starts, a 1.21 ERA. So this kid's cooking on the mound. Like he's pitching so well for this Brewers team, and they need the length in the rotation. You're getting it with Colin Ray. Freddie Peralta's kind of had some spotty starts here and there, but you like the consistency from Tobias Myers, a youngster coming in with no fear and just shutting down the Reds, and it was fun to watch. I'm hoping it continues. I think it will, but he really is, Brandon, like you said, becoming the ace of this Brewers team, and they're getting really good pitching contributions from guys that starting the year you would not think so.
And how about Pat Murphy staying with him, giving him the more innings that a lot of questioning about the early exit last time. The Brewers stay with him, and Myers delivers this time.
Yeah, and he really seems to be growing with confidence each time, which Pat Murphy has to be pleased about. Another thing that Pat Murphy has to be pleased about is Jackson Churio. What a difference this summer has been for him. Starting in April and May, you're kind of like, I wonder if this kid really has it. All of a sudden, he can't be stopped.
He's a legit impact player. He does it defensively. He can do it on the base pads. And when the bat is like this, this is what the Brewers needed. They needed Willy Adames to come on again. They needed Joey Ortiz to come on again. And how could you ask for more than this from Jackson Chourio?
Well, the fact that he has been hitting home runs, he's had hit streaks, he really has been the go-to guy for this team. But also with that, you mentioned him as Willy Adames. This week, the power numbers were huge.
I think, 4 or 5 home runs this week alone for Willy Adames? I mean, single-handedly helped the Brewers win. And I think this is what you need, right? Without Christian Yelich, where was the hitting coming from? Jackson Chourio, Willy Adames, Rhys Hoskins with a nice long 14-game hitting streak. So these guys are making up for, the contributions that Christian would have at the plate. But I think what Willy Adames has had, the power with his bat, and Jackson Chourio just being consistent, that's why this offense was able to roll this week.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch for sure. Well, Admirals mainstay Scott Ford, guess what? He earned his NHL call-up. He will join the Blue Jackets as an assistant coach, joining the staff of former Ads head coach Dean Evison, who was hired by Columbus last month. Now, Ford leaves the Admirals after 14 seasons here. He spent time as a player and then as a coach. Congratulations to him. We're wishing him the best of luck. We'll be back with our high school hotshot.
Welcome back. After watching the movie Creed, he was inspired to try boxing. Now, understandably, he was scared the first time he stepped into the ring and ended up losing the match. But now he's competed in multiple national tournaments and is also a Golden Gloves winner. Here's this week's Fox 6 High School Hotshot.
Jesus Rodriguez, Grandview High School graduate, and I'm a boxer. I started boxing at 8 years old. Wanted to get into the sport because I really had a lot of frustration through my past, from my grandma passing and stuff like that. I have so many memories here, blood, sweat, tears. It's just like a family. It's literally like a family gym. That's not really your blood. I remember when I first walked in, I was very nervous. I was scared to start this. I was kind of like the kid getting beat up. I really appreciate that because that really made me progress faster and faster. My coaches were pushing me. They seen something in me that I obviously couldn't see in myself. The sport of boxing done a lot for me. It changed me to the man I am today. It showed me a lot of respect, how to be dedicated to something, motivated even when you don't want to do it. I'm more of a technique boxer. I like to kind of catch you when you're not ready for the punches, or right after you throw your punches, I'm gonna exchange with you. Exactly, hit hard, don't get hit. I won a Golden Glove event on my birthday, the Golden Glove State Tournament. Yeah, so the Golden Gloves was really one of my first fights back from over a year or two, and it just shows me hope that I can hang with the adults. I'm an adult now I gotta do adult things. I just became an electrician. I just joined the apprenticeship. It just interests me a lot because I like working hands-on and I like being more active. Short term, I'm trying to win nationals in December, and then long term, go pro within like 2 years. Yeah, this is the only sport I'm gonna be doing probably for the rest of my life. Jesus Rodriguez, Grandview online graduate, Golden Glove state champion boxer. And I'm this week's Fox 6 High School Hotshot.
And the work continues for Jesus. He'll fight at the national qualifier in December as he tries to earn a bid to nationals in the 156-pound elite male division. All right, we'll be right back.
Hardcore green and gold this week.
Oh, yeah, lots going on. Joint practice starts on Friday in Denver. Second preseason game Sunday night, Tim. And, of course, you can also attend training camp practices Tuesday and Wednesday.
It's a big week for the Brewers. Dodgers come in for 4. Clayton Kershaw pitching for them tomorrow. Then it's the Guardians in town to wrap up their longest homestand of the season. Saturday's game right here on Fox 6 at 6:15.
A lot of winning baseball teams on the field. Dodgers, Brewers, Guardians. It's kind of fun.
It could get them to the top of the National League.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us tonight. See you next week.